This week, coming up from the ashes.
In this iteration of the series, quiet you. In this iteration of the series,
Why?
you'll get to DVD. You'll get to DVD in a second.
Get me out of here!
Where?
I'm losing my mind.
Anyway,
I can't express myself freely.
No, you can't. Go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner. All right. Anyway.
No, I will not.
So the lightning strike.
Stop it!
Too bad.
No.
Phoenix, get the taser. Tase him.
No.
No, he's your problem.
Stun baton. Oh my. All right.
Oh, are we on? Oh, hello everybody. That fell down. Welcome to From the Ashes podcast, or welcome back to Everything is falling down. Why is this happening? Welcome back to From the Ashes podcast. I almost said that other word that we did as a joke, but we can't do it anymore because we're under contract forever now. I am your glorious host. Yep, I am your glorious host, Arson Clown. And I'm here with Phoenix.
What's up?
You know, we're here to discuss some pretty interesting news. Now, I know I said that, well, at least we said it behind the curtain. I don't know if we said it here on mic, but, it was pretty recently that we literally just did a Dead by Daylight episode. But this fraction of news, it's got old Phoenix all giddy, and he just really wanted to talk about it. So,
Well, the fact that I didn't know until literally a little while ago, until you told me, and I was like, I gotta go search this now. Like, I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to. But yeah, also guys, I want to point out that this week we absolutely just changed over our logo to something completely different, something new. I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on it, what you think about the new logo. Please just, keep it to nice comments. Keep your dirty comments away. No,
it's disgusting.
Disgusting. But yeah,
what's wrong with what was wrong with it?
Well, what was wrong with the old logo?
Yeah, what was wrong with the old logo?
I just feel like it needed updated. Like, we started with that. It was kind of something I threw together. And it was nice, but to be honest, I really like this new logo. Like, I tried out something else trying to edit the original logo, but it just did not, I don't know. It looked good, but I kept seeing Grim saying the tree's gone. I don't know how you're going to get into that, but however,
yeah, you might also notice the lack of a third member. Again, nobody wants to talk about Dead by Daylight except this guy, and I am here contractually forced, so I can't really, do anything about that. You might be, what about Ocean?
You two!
What the heck?
Hey, man,
Did you think you could hide from me forever? I am here to right your wrong. This is my episode now. All right, number one.
What?
No.
Hold on. What?
You barged in here. We were gonna do a thing,
Too bad. A year ago, you guys made a Transformers episode. All right, and I will have you know.
Oh my gosh.
So much was wrong with that I have forcefully no. All right, I have forcefully manifested. I have manifested myself into this podcast. All right, I have manifested myself into this episode. Phoenix, you're just gonna find this out in post. All right, you're just gonna see that I forced myself in. All right, and I am here to objectively correct every single wrong that you guys did. Any questions before we start?
Correct. It was flawlessly done, dude. Why are you in here to correct something that's flawlessly done?
Okay.
Okay.
Even I gotta admit that's a little polished. That was nice bait there.
All right.
Take them off.
First and foremost, I will allow this to happen. However, we still get to talk about DVDs sometime. in this episode.
I'll consider it.
Wow.
Hey,
Okay.
you have no room for leeway, Mister. I left before the end of the last episode.
No. We chalked it up to my internet, remember?
You know how lonely Zombie felt.
He did. He felt really
I'm sure
lonely.
he got so lonely with his Joker body pillow. Anyway.
All right, Mr. Frickin' Transformer. I swear, if this dude could marry a Transformer, he would. If he would
Who's to say I haven't?
Jeez, I don't even want to go
He's
down
got the
that road.
papers under his desk.
Okay. Anyways, fine. You do your stupid thing, and we'll sit back and idly listen to you.
Can't wait and just sit and do nothing.
Yep.
I'm gonna mute my mic
just
just so I don't say anything out of
Excellent.
character. Because you're gonna tick me off.
Wait.
Do what?
Tick you off by being right?
I'm sorry. Right is an opinion, and your opinion doesn't matter.
No, you just got actual facts wrong.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, this one I can not really not let you slide at all. Okay, you guys only talked about the death of Optimus Prime twice. Once as a throwaway gag in the beginning, and then another time just like in the middle of talking about the movie. All right, I don't think you guys understand the cultural impact that Optimus Prime dying had. Okay, to segue this into another thing, Phoenix, I specifically remember in that episode that I won't say the word because it's going to get us, a wrist slap.
Yes.
But there was a swear word said in that movie, and you were wondering if parents ever tried to contact Hasbro about that swear word, right? You were kind of on the right track. So parents did contact Hasbro, but it wasn't because of the swear word. It was because of the death of Optimus Prime. I kid you not. There were, I think, 14 different cases of children not leaving their rooms and crying for hours straight after watching that movie because Optimus Prime died. He was such a, again, he's the face of Transformers. Like, he is the Transformer,
Not after that movie.
Oh, yeah.
See, the interesting
Yeah.
thing about that is
Yeah, quiet there. Anyway.
fighting.
Another thing. Shut up, Inferno. And I'm going to call you Dive Bomb now. I forgot what my next point was.
Jeez, it's
All right, so back to DVD.
No.
Goldfish crackers.
So another point is, I know you guys had talked a little bit about like the anime trilogy and stuff. You were right that Optimus Prime is voiced by Gary Chalk in that
Trilogy.
Like, is it trilogy? Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. But I'm not sure if you knew, he also was the voice of Grimlock for the original show.
Yes, I actually did know that, and I completely forgot to mention that. So, yeah. Gary Chalk, though, is a great voice actor. I mean, he also voiced He-Man.
He is.
In the 2000 series of He-Man. The 2000X is what it's officially called. But he was literally He-Man in that. So, he is an amazing voice actor. And if anybody, you can't replace the original voice, but he is a really good representative of that voice of Optimus Prime. I think, it was weird to get used to.
Yeah. And, I'll bring this up. So I've actually met Peter Cullen before, right?
Really? Have you?
And yeah, I met him and Frank Welker.
Did you hump their legs? I feel like that you would have because that's you.
No.
Okay.
No.
You. I'm impressed that you've met both of them.
Yeah, I met them both. And I was talking with Peter Cullen, and this is just my own kind of interpretation, but this was around the time of the Netflix series. So this was like literally like just before or just after he went to Netflix and asked them, "Hey, I want to voice Optimus Prime in this. And then Netflix told him no, because Netflix is stupid. Same thing with Frank Welker, right?
Yeah, which is the stupidest thing you could ever do.
It's so dumb. But he did say this. He's glad that other people are getting a chance to voice Optimus Prime because he loves Optimus Prime. Naturally, I mean, like when I think of Peter Cullen, I think of two characters: Optimus Prime and Eeyore, right?
Right, well, yeah, that's everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But he's probably most well known for being Optimus Prime, even though he's voiced many characters.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Like, Eeyore's pretty up there. Like,
Eeyore is up there, but I don't know. And also, you know, he gave me the speech, about how he became Optimus Prime and all that.
okay,
so,
yeah. I was thinking,
the one
like
with him and his brother.
The birds and the bees. I don't know what kind of speech he gave you. I was just wondering.
The bots and the bolts.
The bots and the bolts. That's funny.
But yeah, no, like he gave me that speech and stuff. And from how I see it.
How do you see it?
Yeah, we're waiting.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, hold on. He's breaking up real bad. Well, it looks like DVD's back in store.
Oh, great.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Oh. So the way you see it,
the way I see it is that he's very tired. Not necessarily in the sense like, you know, he did everything that day, but I do think that he is tired of being the sole voice of Optimus, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I would say the same thing for Frank Welker, but Frank, he was very energetic the entire time that I was there. He's very rambunctious and very fun.
He's a horse of a different color. That's all I'm saying. Like he's like, man, I tell you what, like, let me ask you a question before you get too far in. Do you think that they could possibly do the same thing with Peter Cullen and possibly Frank Welker to record voice lines, and they have enough, and to do what they did with James Earl Jones for Darth Vader?
Maybe, but I don't think either of them or me would want that. You know what I mean? Because when it comes to voice acting, right? Like, again, they are the icons of that voice, right? But just because they're the icons doesn't mean we shouldn't let new people try.
I 100% agree.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from, though. Like, always have that as like some sort of backup, and as long as they're okay with it, I see no problem with it. But I definitely think that something like that is a slippery slope, you know, because if you have something like that, you're always just going to default to that, because then you don't have to pay a voice actor. Then you don't have to have them retake their lines, you know, and like companies will always take the cheapest option. They will, you know. So stuff like that is a slippery slope. But I do get where you're coming from with that.
Well, and that's the thing, is I may have said that, but I don't agree with it. I truly believe there's so much talent out there in voice acting that we could get somebody that can, I'm not going to say straight up like be better as Eeyore or freaking Optimus Prime, but they could put their own spin on it to where it's like just really good. And not good as. I won't ever say good as, but like, because he's the definitive voice for that, you know?
Yeah, he's the OG, he's the definitive voice. I will agree. But, you know, I hate to say it, but when they die, you know, like someone else is going to have to take up that mantle, and you may not like them near as much because, again, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker will always be like the voice for you. You know what I mean? And I fully get that. And they probably will be for me too. But look at Fred Tatasciore, right? He voices Megatron in Transformers. Yeah, Transformers Fall Cybertron. And as much as I love Frank Welker, Fred Tatasciore is single-handedly my favorite Megatron. because of how he delivers those lines, it's
But-
so much raw anger and energy.
But
You
it's
know? Sorry, go
darker
ahead.
too. The way he does it is it's like
Oh, yeah.
darker, and I like that because it shows that real dark side of I mean, no pun intended or anything. Dark side of the movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. But no darks. It shows more of a dark side to Megatron with that voice. And
Mhm.
don't get me wrong. Like I said, Frank Welker, man, like he is the OG for Megatron too. But also, like when it comes to that, like I can respect Gary Chalk playing Optimus Prime just as much as I can, because he's actually done it other than those three. Like he's gone back to it and he's done other things when it comes to that. And I think he does such a good job. So
Mhm.
voice acting aside though, man, you talk about when Optimus Prime died. You may have heard about it and watched it. I freaking lived it. I lived that era. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I didn't sit in my room and cry and refuse to come out because, I may have been a child, but I wasn't like an idiot. Like, I can't separate myself from a cartoon. Like, really? Like, and I know they tried to make Hot Rod look like so cool. Look at the color scheme. They used fire. Tried to make him look so cool.
He is like the very first definition of pandering in my eyes. Because now, granted, Hot Rod as a character, especially in the UK comics, is phenomenal, right? But the problem is
Rodimus
that
Maximus, yes.
he was just thrown into being Optimus Prime, and like the fact that no one had a warning. There was no warning whatsoever. You know what I mean? That's what really killed it for him.
But dude, the whole fact that they introduced him in the movie, and it's so stupid. Like, why not choose somebody that was already existing? Like, granted, I know who was supposed to be in, but then Hot Rod ended up getting it, and all that stuff. But still, I mean, why? Like, that failed miserably. Like, so bad.
It really did.
So you could get me started on this too, but in the same sense, yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, no. One of the writers for that movie actually made a book, and the book is literally called "I Killed Optimus Prime." And he goes into detail about how he was writing the movie and stuff, and how originally Prime wasn't even supposed to die. Originally, he wasn't. But Hasbro was like, "Hey, we're making new toys. Kill off everyone." You know what I mean? And even then, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a deleted scene of Shockwave dying. Shockwave died off screen. Now he deserves it because he's my most hated character of all time in all of fiction.
Yep.
But like that's crazy to me. It's like they killed off like basically everyone. Like who are the characters from the first season that stayed alive that I could think of? Power Glide,
Bumblebee?
I thought Bumblebee died. Didn't he become
No.
gold? No, that was the Hate Link. That was the Hate
yeah,
Link. That's a
yeah.
different. Yep, that was season 3.
I was gonna say, yeah, I know.
Like Warpath. Yeah. And then they brought Optimus Prime back eventually, and then they killed him again, and then they brought him back again. It is very goofy, but
to be fair, the way they brought him back, it was more so that you knew that was going to happen, like because it was stupid.
the second time he got brought back, that one was But the first time where like the quintessence had taken his zombified corpse,
right,
and like sent him after the Autobot. That was crazy to me. Like I was like 12 when I watched those. He
was like a
G1,
crimson color,
right?
wasn't he? Like a full on crimson color or something. They gave him a different shade of color.
Did they?
I'm pretty sure. You can look it up, but I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember. But yeah, no, there was all that stuff. And then this is for a completely different episode. Ocean, in the villains that were correct, he kind of mucked it up when he brought up Megatron. There's only been one time where Megatron was evil to save his species, and that was that was the movie because he wanted to make sure the Decepticons could survive along with the Autobots, and all that. The movies like during Cybertron are just kind of all over the place, but the IDW comics, right? Megatron actually had a very, very noble cause at the very beginning because he was a slave, he was a miner. That was determined by what he transformed into. He transformed into a drilling tank, right? So the what are they called? It's not the high. It might be the High Council, but either way, right? They're like, all right, you transform into something that can be used for slave work. You are a slave now. And in his free time, he literally would go to the pits of Kaon, and he would watch. And eventually, what was it? He got thrown in. And he had to fight, and I love this. He had to fight. What was his name? Psykill, the evil robot leader from the GoBots.
The GoBots,
right?
yeah.
Yep. They had a reference to GoBots, and they had him fight Psykill, and he brutalized him.
Of course, they're going to brutalize him. I mean, they're not going to let something that came before the Transformers outlast the Transformers. I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah, but it's a cool reference regardless.
I mean, it is a cool reference.
But yeah, and then after all that, Megatron was like, "Our lives suck just because we transform into something that's not able to fly, not fancy." You know what I mean? And it's really interesting because the council themselves, like the council was just evil, right? And in this like timeline, we'll say Optimus was a cop. He wasn't a librarian, which I find very interesting. He was a cop that thought he was doing the right thing. So he would bring in the criminal, the council would give their thing, and then he'd take the criminal away, throw him in a cell. There's another character named Whirl. He transformed into a helicopter.
Yep.
And he didn't want to fight. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to fight. So the council tore him apart and then rebuilt him without his hands or his face. So all he had left was like the shockwave type eye, and then he had two like tweezers for hands. And that broke him like mentally because he loved to make clocks as a hobby, and like he would sell his clocks and stuff, right? When the council found that out, instead of him being a defense agent or whatever for the National Air Force, I guess they just completely pulled him apart, put him back together, And it's stuff like that where when Transformers gets really like grimdark at certain points.
You just cut out again. Uh-oh. So, while Grim is away, he's breaking up real bad, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay. Just transition. Transition.
I was enjoying my break.
Just transition. Are you sure?
Yep. I'm assuming. Some other
Are you finished?
Hold on. If you're not done, we're not transitioning. Then, so continue. You're back.
Okay.
So
IDW has done a lot of really good things, and in terms of just straight up storytelling, IDW is objectively just the best form of Transformers media. They're not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's the best form. Is it my favorite? No. Is that okay? Absolutely. Some people on the internet would disagree, and they would want to, give me the world treatment. The people that use the Funny Bird app. But IDW has a lot of really good storytelling, and then they also have really, really bad storytelling. So, quick side tangent. I'll make this as short as possible. My favorite group of combiners is the Combaticons. All right? Basically, in IDW, the Combaticons combined into Bruticus. They were incredibly stupid, and they got shot with a rocket launcher by Ironhide. Starscream made a deal with Blastoff, the right arm of the Combaticons, to brainwash all of the other Combaticons, which, by the way, the Combaticons are viewed as brothers in arms. Like, they have a very strong relationship with one another. So Blastoff, 1, destroyed that trust, and 2, he did it just so that he could be in a relationship with Onslaught, because he had a crush on Onslaught. And it sucks so much because the only character that gets development after this is Brawl of all Combaticons. Now, I love his character development because he's like, holy, crap. Like, Starscream brainwashed us, and, he's like, all right, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. So he went off to go help South Korea in a war for some reason. Very random. I don't know why, but he's just kind of doing his own thing. And then all of the other Combaticons got left for the dust, and the whole betrayal that Blastoff had was never resolved. To my knowledge, it never got resolved. He forced his brothers to become slaves to Starscream, and then forced the other one into a one-sided relationship. So that's cool. Love that subtle, messaging. IDW.
Look, Starscream, I think, is the most evil of all the Decepticons to me. Like, he is one of the most cunning and evil ones out there. He's always trying to backstab everybody, especially Megatron. In every format of the Transformers, even in the Combiner Wars and stuff like that, he was played off as a good guy. But what happened in the end, Grim? What happened in the end?
Oh yeah, no, he pulled a Starscream.
Yes,
so it's
he did.
Funny. The only time that Starscream has ever been a good guy was the animated series, and I've seen so many people like that version, and I've seen so many people hate that version because he was a good guy.
You want him as a bad guy.
I'm kind of whatever. I think it's a cool way to take the character, because I don't think any character, let alone any Transformer, should be a standard like role. You know what I mean? I've seen what is it? Skybound. Optimus is still Optimus Prime, but he has had enough of this war, and he brutalizes some of the Decepticons, right? Not out of like, hey, we need to stop them, out of just sheer anger. Like, he'll kill them just because he's that angry. But it makes sense because he's tired of this war. You know what I mean? And then there's cases that I don't really like, but I think are completely understandable. Grimlock in Cyberverse. He has a gimmick where in robot mode, he's very, very like dignified, very smart, very kind, very, all that stuff. And then in Dino mode, he's Grimlock. You know what I mean? I don't like that. Do I think that's awful? No. So like, when it comes to that version of Starscream, I think that version of Starscream's fine, and I think he's cool because he has a lot of very interesting character moments. Do I think that should be the gold standard for Starscream? No. Do I think that's a perfectly fine adaptation? Absolutely. But I want I wanted to touch on something before I brought that up, and now I forgot. But okay, so you're gonna hate this, Phoenix.
Here, how about this? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You're gonna hate this, Phoenix. So that Prime Wars trilogy is not a sequel to G1 at all. It obviously it shares characteristics, but it's not. You want to know what is a canonical sequel to G1? Earthspark. I'm not joking.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
Not in my canon.
Nope. Yep. Nope. No. Dead butt. That is 100%. That is 100%. That is 100% canon. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think it's stupid? Absolutely.
It's not my canon.
Why? Because they teased Grimlock and didn't show him. And I'll make this incredibly long. Grimlock is my favorite fictional character of all time. Because he mixes two very, very important things in my heart. Awesome robots and dinosaurs.
Wait, you like dinosaurs?
I know. I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Go back to 2 episodes ago, everybody listening, and you'll understand more. Or every episode since he's been here.
Pretty much. Whenever it comes to Grimlock, I think there are definitely boundaries that shouldn't be crossed with Grimlock. I think that he shouldn't necessarily be stupid, but he should be very goofy at times. I think that he should very, very easily be the strongest one on the team because that is literally what he's supposed to do, right?
He's the Incredible Hulk of the freaking Dinobots.
Pretty much. Like he is like the man, you know. And most iterations treat him as such. There are some that I'm not a huge fan of, like Robots in Disguise, the 2015 one.
That was cool.
The fact that it was a sequel to Prime, that it was a sequel to Prime is just it hurts.
Prime was so good though. Anyways, go ahead.
It was really good. We were supposed to get a season 4, and it was supposed to have the Dinobots in it, and we were gonna see Grimlock fight Predaking. And granted, I love Combiner Predaking, but Transformers Prime Predaking, easily my favorite Predaking. I would have killed someone to see those two fight.
Well, they also killed off the Rock in the first episode, so
it's whatever. It made good character development for RC, so it's fine.
I'm saying it's okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But my all-time favorite version of Grimlock, and this is one of my all-time favorite games of all time, Fall of Cybertron. It wasn't the first time I was introduced to, Grimlock, the Dinobots, Bruticus. Well, actually, no, it was the first time I was introduced to Bruticus. And, quick breakdown of that is it's a sequel to War for Cybertron, which I have never played, but I want to. And you're playing the role of both Autobots and Decepticons trying to get off of Cybertron because, shocker, it's kind of hard for the Transformers to get to Earth without a dead Cybertron. So you play as both of them, and at first you think, okay, they got to get the Energon, get off planet. But at the very beginning, they mentioned the Lightning Strike Coalition Force, which is what the Dinobots were called before they became Dinobots, right? In this iteration, right? Because obviously G1 Wheeljack built them, and in the comics, apparently they just existed. But in this franchise, in this iteration of the series, quiet you. In this iteration of the series,
why?
You'll get to DVD in a second.
Get me out of here!
Where?
I'm losing my mind.
Anyway,
I can't express myself freely.
No, you can't. Go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner. All right. Anyway.
No, I will not.
So the lightning strike.
Stop it!
Too bad.
No.
Phoenix, get the taser. Tase him.
No.
No, he's your problem.
Stun baton. Oh my. All right. Hold on. Let me get you some Plants vs. Zombies TikToks to calm your mind, assassin.
Right, so hold on. So Grim, before he went on this little tangent of his own, I literally messaged him. Did you see that, Arson? I'm assuming you did.
Yeah.
I said, how many breakdowns of breakdowns is he going to do? Because you just keep on, like, you go into one breakdown. Yep. Okay, the breakdown really quick. You're like on your fifth breakdown.
Yep. And I haven't even mentioned the character breakdown yet. We still got at least 60 more breakdowns to go. No, I'm kidding. Okay. I promise this will be the last one, and then we can go talk about the man with the funny glow stick. All right. So the Lightning Strike Coalition Force goes missing, and the Autobots are sent. Are you done? Do you need your bingy? Do you want a blankie? The Lightning Strike Coalition Force goes missing. The Autobots. The Autobots send Jazz and Cliffjumper to go look for him, and you find the dead remains of Sludge. He's the guy that transforms into the sauropod. For anyone who doesn't know, and basically you can skip the entire rest of the point. So the best mission in that entire game is Mission 12. You just got done playing as Starscream, and you are trying to negotiate with a Grimlock that has been through countless hours of torture, cybernetic enhancements, and all sorts of stuff, right? And you know how Grimlock responds. He grabs Starscream by the face and throws him into the console that's controlling the restraints, right? and the restraints start bugging out. So he breaks off both restraints with his arms, and he decimates the entire Decepticon like platoon stationed at Shockwave's tower. And the entire time, one thing that I really love about this Grimlock is Shockwave was scared of Grimlock, because Grimlock was not only one of the physically strongest leaders of the Autobot army, but he was incredibly smart too. And that is one thing that I really like when people bring up in Grimlock, whether it's comics, movies, whatever, right? Grimlock is not stupid. He actually pretends to be stupid to fool his enemy, because he knows that, hey, I'm a giant dinosaur, so they probably think I'm, have the brain of a dinosaur. So he literally feigns being an idiot most of the time. The only reason he can't do that now is because Shockwave has literally like cut signals to his like brain, essentially, right? But he knows that. He knows that Shockwave did that. So he's forcefully trying to like come up with plans, and the entire time Gary Chalk is giving this amazing performance of a Grimlock that's filled with nothing but anger. He's hurting. He's concerned for all of his other Dinobot friends. All this stuff. And then you have moments that are super funny where Slug, which his name was Slag, it's stupid that they changed it, but I get it, considering it's a slur in England, whatever. But Slug and him get in an argument about their favorite, I don't even know how you would call it, Cybertronian like deli meat. Slug goes, Cesium salami, and then Grimlock goes, no, beryllium baloney, right? And they just go back and forth.
Of course you get into character, too.
Of course I get into character.
All the bits and the bobs.
And then the entire rest of Grimlock's segment is going, tearing through Decepticons and Insecticons. You kill all three of the named Insecticons, Kickback, Bombshell, and Shrapnel. I think they had to rename Bombshell to something else for some reason as well, but I don't remember what they renamed him to. And then you get to Shockwave, and you get the best mission in the entire game, where you transform into your Dino form, and you tear through everyone. You get to Shockwave, he forcefully chains you with these energy bindings, and all Grimlock does is he tears through the bindings, transforms, rips off Shockwave's left arm, which is his gun arm, but the Shockwave didn't have a gun arm, so they ripped off the arm that would eventually become the gun arm. That's an amazing attention to detail. And then he tail smacks him off the ledge to his quote-unquote death. This is Transformers. Shockwave never dies because the directors can't stop. I can't say that. The directors can't stop loving him for no reason. And that has been my TED Talk. I think I missed a few things of problems that I had with the episode, but that's fine. I got an excuse to talk about one of the greatest games of all time. I'm happy. Gotcha. I wasn't stopping my TED Talk. I was transforming it.
Oh.
Okay. But seriously now, I know you said you didn't have a lot to like contribute to this episode, all right? But I want just a basic question from you, and I will answer it in the most convoluted way possible.
Why why Fortnite?
Because money.
Didn't they make that canon?
I mean, Fortnite's canon to literally anything that it shows up in.
I guess that's fair, but like I mean like they made that like canon to the Transformers like story somewhat. I don't know.
Again, they did that for Marvel, they did that for DC. I'm sure they did it for Jujutsu Kaisen. They did it for Invincible!
Yeah, but some of those, like Marvel, DC especially, those are pretty specific. Like, they got plenty of multiverses to choose from. We already have enough.
Yeah, so does Transformers.
Like main continuity, like, stuff.
Okay, well, I wouldn't necessarily call the new movies the main continuity.
Oh no,
And
the movies are a
granted,
completely separate thing.
I've never seen the new movies. I never saw Rise of the Beasts.
Me neither.
Yeah. Well, I'm also not going to watch the next one because I heard they were doing a GI Joe crossover, and that's I don't much care. The comics
Dude, when was the last
pretty
G.I.
bad.
Joe movie?
I don't care. Like what, 2014?
I
If
don't
that,
even know.
I don't know. Okay, but like give me a question about like any character you could think of, and just I want you to have a shred of interest. All right.
That's tall. What are you giving me there, boss?
Don't worry. I don't expect
Hmm.
much.
Oh. I'm trying to fire up a neuron.
I know it's really hard.
What was it? List off the members of the team that I know they always shift like the main team that Optimus is usually with every time. It's basically just Optimus, Bumblebee, and like another set of characters, but list
Mhm.
off some names really quick. I'll probably remember something.
Okay, so most of the time, as of recent, it'll be someone like Optimus, Bumblebee, Ratchet. Usually, Ratchet is always like a mainstay because he's the only medic aside from Wheeljack. And then there's also Wheeljack. Then there's Ironhide. Obviously, the Dinobots: Grimlock, Snarl, Sludge, Swoop. Who am I forgetting? Swoop. Yeah, Swoop turns into the pterodactyl. Shocker. Um, who else? There's the mini bots, which are funny because they're literally just short. That's their entire gimmick. They are just short. There's Warpath.
That kind of seems like an insult. Mini bots.
It's funny. It's funny because unironically, some of them are the bravest and the coolest. There's Warpath. His entire gimmick is he cannot end a phrase unless it ends in an explosion automatopoeia. So one of my favorite things is just how he talks. Like he'll say something like "zing, zam, bow." Like he always has to end a sentence on something like that. So like one time he was talking to Optimus and he was along the lines of like, "Don't worry, Prime, we zam, we got them, plow." Like Deceptor runs on the run, bam. Like he always talks like that, and I love it so much because it gives him so much character. And then there's Powerglide, so he was just vibing, and a random human woman fell in love with him. And it's
Of
so
course.
funny. It's
Of
so
course.
funny because it is a one-way relationship. He does not care. Like, at one point, she chases him to an actual, like, fight in the middle of the city, and he's like, "Get away from me, you crazy woman!" I love Powerglide so much. He's very,
That
very
is
goofy.
that is insanity. I guess
Yep.
I could respect the insanity, but also at the same time, wow, just just running into an active war zone to go see this Autobot that you love. That's dedication, I guess, if anything.
Yeah, and an Autobot that doesn't love you back. Actually, I think there's three parts, which is crazy to me that they made this, and they're not right after one another, which is even crazier. Because like in the original show, it was episodic. You could watch one
Mm.
episode without needing context for any others, right? But they had a three-part story where Powerglide met this woman, was not a fan of her. He then finds her again and has to save her from the Decepticons, all that stuff. And then the third episode is him finally being like, "Okay, fine. Fine. We can be in a relationship as long as you're safe." And it's just so funny. I love Powerglide so much. But then there's the aerial bots, which are a bunch of Autobots that transform into planes that turn into the combiner Superion, right? Um, there's Skyfire slash Jetfire. A lot of people get very angry when you use the other name, even though that's both of his names. He's like the transport. so he transforms into this massive jet that can open up a hangar bay and let the other Autobots like chill inside him while he's flying them around. He's pretty cool. He's got a lot of interesting lore, especially with Starscream in some of the later adaptations of the franchise, where they were actually best friends, and Starscream wasn't always a awful person. You know, I shocker, I know. And Jetfire and him, because Jetfire was a scientist, right? He's not very like keen to fight. He's very much more keen to actually like explore, do stuff like that. That's why he chose it. Okay, in the old series, they could choose whatever mode they wanted to be. In stuff like IDW, they can't, and that's why Megatron was enslaved. But that's why he chose to be a jet, right? And then Starscream was a military commander that went with him to make sure he was safe. So they ended up forming a very strong bond, and they became very good friends to the point where, in some iterations, if they find each other on the battlefield, they'll just straight up like be like, "Oh, hi, I'm gonna go fight that guy now." Like they just won't fight each other. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's stuff like that. What else do you want to know?
Keep listing off. There's probably another one in there.
There's Perceptor. He's just a nerd. And,
Next.
literally. I mentioned Wheeljack. There's the Protectobots, which it's kind of funny. Their whole point is to be non-aggressive, and they're supposed to help the injured, but they combine into Defensor, who is a combiner, and when you combine, you're expected to fight. Very first time he gets shown, he gets the sleeves beat off of him by Bruticus, and the only reason he saves the day is because he catches a train that was about to fall from a broken railway. Right, he catches the train and he like helps it like go on to safety, and then Bruticus is gonna destroy the train. And if I remember right, Defensor like pulled back the meanest uppercut and hit Bruticus so hard he forced him to decombine. That's actually happened a fair bit, where something will happen and it's just so forceful that it forces the combiner to decombine. That was probably one of the funnier ones. There's the Stunticons, which they are a group of Decepticons. Their whole shtick is just road rage. I kid you not. That is their entire shtick. Who's all on part of that team? Dragstrip, Breakdown, Motormaster. There's two more. I can't remember their names. Whatever. But they form Menasor, and the funny thing about Menasor is that he's the weakest combiner in terms of like powers and like physicality, but he has a sword that can literally just create lightning storms, and he's literally just clinically insane. That is it. He like I remember in one of the IDW comics, he cuts like Superion in half and like just laughs the entire time while he's doing it. And the only reason he gets stopped is because he gets shot in the face with a rocket. But anytime.
All right. I can't handle this anymore. Man, that's an awful lot of Transformers. Let's
See more next time.
Let's transform and roll out.
What do you want about, man? I was actually just getting into it.
Oh, well, I've had too much. As you can tell, I've been quiet for a while, and I just can't do Transformers anymore.
I know I was tweaking out like 15 minutes ago?
Something like that. But
it depends, honestly. There are a lot of narrative issues. We're kind of jumping from one point to the next.
Well, yeah, I just took off my headset and was like banging my head into the wall. You couldn't hear it because I muted my mic, because I'm just like, I'm over Transformers. But with that, apparently we're not going to be able to get to our DVD.
What do you want about
So I don't know. You're playing work, you little butthead.
Decepticons, retreat!
We were just talking about Autobots
So yeah,
for the most part.
I just, oh gosh. Anyways, so I guess Arson and I will have to get together and do a DVD episode and make sure that nobody can get in here to to bum rush us and all that stuff. But Arson, it's all yours now.
My service will. All right, I'm the host. I could have probably stopped this whenever. I have the power. I could have literally booted Grim from the call.
You do have the power. You're like He-Man, the far
You
superior
got the
80s
touch.
cartoon.
Okay, all right, pal. Thundercats
right.
is better, and even that's a C-tier show.
Okay, so he's about to get muted server wide. All right, but yeah, Arson. I'll mute him if you win the episode.
Huh? What do you mean?
I said I'll.
I got one last secret to tell, but Grim can't hear it.
Okay, so you want me server mute him?
I mean, bye, man.
Okay,
Hey,
bye.
See ya, buddy.
I'm happy. Yep.
No, wait. No, that's bollocks, man.
He's deafened and mutant.
That probably isn't even gonna work. He probably still here.
Nah, not at all. So, what's your secret?
There's literally no secret. I just did it. Just,
okay, we'll bring him back and be like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that is game changing. Wow. All right.
I wouldn't be surprised if neither of you two showed up for that entire thing.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, yeah. So on that note,
all right. Well, Phoenix. This has been an interesting episode. Didn't exactly get to the point we wanted to. There were a lot of well, okay, a lot is an understatement. The whole road was nothing but bumps, but it's fine.
You can blame the Stunticons for that one.
I blame Grim.
Well, we've come to the end of our time. Thank you for joining us on this random episode. Probably not your favorite. I know it's hard to live up to the hype of the Jonkler, but we'll find our footing once again someday. Just not today.
I hope you could see the meanest side eye I just gave my TV. I wish you could.
Well. If you want to check out all things from the ashes, go check that stupid little link tree down below. I don't know what it does at this point. It might be gaining its own consciousness. It probably turn against its creators. But until then, there are links to Phoenix's slop, as well as my slop, and probably some other people's slop. They were once here. I don't know if he took those out.
No, not yet. But I am going to work on that link this week, so trust me.
Slop just everywhere. Go check that out. And I mean, yeah, we're like, if you didn't catch the if you didn't catch the session last time for the D&D, we're not going to be doing it this Sunday, so don't look forward to that. However, you can look forward to the second episode of Tavern Talk about the session we just did, and if you didn't check that out, shame on you. Shame. Big shame.
I really enjoyed the Tavern Talk. Like, I think that was a really good, whoever thought that up, man, was a really good creator on that one.
Almost as great as the man who made propane. But with all that being said, you know, on that day, have a happy Father's Day and all that stuff. We will catch you, I don't know, sometime. We're around, I guess. Oh, are we done?